All right, we've got the new Petzl Sitta. So wireframe construction, we still have the HMPE tie-in points and belay loop, super abrasion resistant, but also just super durable. The gear loop divider, again, some people love it, some people hate it, but there's that option to just move it to the side, but that's still there. And we have retained the ice clipper slots. We have wrapped it with a different fabric, and we've actually printed on that fabric, and we've done a lot of UV light testing, and we found that this is going to be a lot better. You're going to see less color change from just exposure to the sun. We've enlarged the gear loops. So that's nice, even more gear storage there. You'll even notice that the accessory loop is more of a gear loop itself, so you can pretty much tout that it's a 5 gear loop harness. We've added some durable TPU coating to the bottom part of the leg loops for added durability as well. That's a very high wear area. The way that we have put all the materials together, you'll notice that it is just slightly more supportive. Previous Sitta was very flexible, which a lot of people enjoy, but we've noticed for better hanging comfort, we wanted to add a little bit more rigidity to it. It then acts a little bit more as like a mini weight belt that then supports your lower back when you're hanging, and you're not going to have to always engage your core muscles all the time. Even though it still has the ice clipper slots, it is a more sturdy and stable one, so that ice clipper is going to be a lot more set in its place. It is compatible with the Carry Tool Evo, even though the Carry Tool Evo is compatible with any harness that doesn't even have ice clipper slots, but you can install the Carry Tool Evo knowing that in the ice clipper slot, you're going to get a very stable position and setting for it. We did update the leg risers. This is now a auto-adjusting, auto-leveling leg loop adjuster, but you cannot adjust it in length. The other thing that you'll notice too is that we went from a $200 harness down to a $175 harness. So you're getting an even better harness for less of the price. The Sitta is offered in sizes extra small all the way up to large. And so waist size from like 62 centimeters all the way up to 92 centimeters. So with all of these updates, there was an increase in weight. We went from the previous version, size medium, that was 270 grams. The new version, size medium, is 285 grams. And you'll see some of that weight maybe come from, larger gear loops, more material. This material that we're doing on the outer fabric and printing on it, that increases weight just a little bit. Initially, when the Sitta was designed, it was focused on, we want a good, lightweight, yet comfortable to hang in harness for the high alpine. Whether it was snow and ice alpine or even just rock alpine, something that's light and not so bulky in your pack for the long approaches, but then also has a level of comfort that is needed when hanging, but gives you that freedom of movement still. So that was the realm. It was like the alpine environment for this harness. But when it came out, obviously people started saying, oh, I could use it for this, I could use it for that. And so even the sport climbers are adopting this as a great sending harness. Some will even use it to project in their harnesses, or some might use a harness like the Sama, which is a very cushioned and everything for their projecting because they're sitting and falling so much, and then they pull this out for their red point attempts. But there's lots of claims out there. People say that the Sitta is the most comfortable harness that they've ever put on their bodies. Other people say, yeah, it's a great one in other aspects, but maybe not on the comfort side. So when it comes to comfort, that's very personal and subjective. But in the end, we've noticed that even though it's been designed for the alpine world, it's really taken its place in the sport climbing realm, to where you see people climbing 514 to 515 in this harness. So with the launch of the new one, it still kind of is marketed the same. We're now saying for the elite, whether it's the elite rock climber, the elite ice climber, the elite alpinist, this is a harness that if you're willing to spend $175 on a harness for the advantages of something so low bulk, lightweight, highly durable and everything, it's going to be worth it to you if you're on that elite advanced level, rather than somebody just getting into it. This is very overkill. You may not be putting in enough mileage per se to merit something of this caliber and of this cost. When you look at just the quality, the performance, and the price of it, it's definitely on the higher end. On the opposite end of the spectrum, you have the Corax harnesses, which are very budget friendly. They're very comfortable in the sense of just how much foam is there to give you more of a cushioned feel. And then like in the middle, that's where you find the namesake harness that you used to see Chris Sharma always climbing in, which is the Sama. That one kind of maintains its middle ground. So a lot of times harnesses are compared to the performance and the feel of the Sama harness. The Hirundos actually was designed specifically for what we see this harness being used for, that is advanced sport climbing. There are a lot of similarities, almost the same shape and kind of profile. The main difference that you'll see between those two is the internal construction. So again, this is built with wireframe construction. The Hirundos, as well as the Aquila, they're built with what we call fuse frame construction. So there is a good layer of EVA foam in there. It's a thinner one than what you'll see on the other harnesses, but then we have inlaid, by compressing that foam and creating channels, then we inlay the structural webbing to be able to maintain that thin and sleek profile that it has, to where it almost matches this, but it doesn't get as thin as the Sitta. And with that, because of the foam, because of some of the pressing that we do to create that fuse frame, you will notice a lot more rigidity to the waist belt and the leg loops, creating even more of a supportive comfort, to where it is a lot more friendly when you are hanging in it. And that's the thing, when we're sport climbing, especially high-end sport climbing, you're gonna be falling and sitting on the harness a lot. And that's why the Hirundos is very good for that, because you have that supportive, almost like mini lawn chair effect when you're sitting in your harness. The Sitta, again, because it was designed mainly with the alpine world in mind, you do more movement than hanging in the alpine, and so this is going to not cater as much to your hanging than it does to your movement.